Hey Taurus, how you doing? Let's see what you got going on for you. Celtic cross. What's stopping you from coming together with somebody or something? You either want to come together with someone or expand your organization, your company, your business. But what's the issue is the wheel is change. There was a change in your life and stopped you from coming together. Eight of Foes, your foundation. You want to move, and maybe there was the cause of your situation is movement. It's a lack of communication, lack of sharing, lack of coming together, lack of really communicating. There's definitely a change of all of that. But there's a change of coming together too, so maybe there is an end of a situation or a relationship, and it stopped your expansion. It stopped you working together with someone or something. In the past, Six of Arrows, transition. You moved away, maybe because you were living afar, or maybe you had plans to move, or maybe they moved. And it's like you knew that there was change ahead, and you knew that it wasn't something that was able to last a long time, or it was like, it was something that wasn't lasting. Maybe there was a distance between the two, and maybe it was like a long distance relationship and nobody wanted to really work together, or maybe you didn't because you didn't think it would work out. And maybe you thought that somebody would be around when you're ready to come around, or maybe somebody is like planning to move away and it's going to cause a change of the situation. Maybe even a separation. And somebody is going to take action into, moving ahead. Your goal is to heal from whatever loss or breakup that happened. And it's the best that can be accomplished at the moment. We can't control change. Change is the only thing that's consistent in our life. Change is the only thing that's guaranteed. Maybe now that you feel like you have to deal with this change. Or maybe this was just a breakup if you didn't live long distance, or maybe you had to move along if this wasn't a person. Maybe it was a job, a career path, or a certain kind of business. You know that it needed to be a change in order for you to bring some kind of healing into your life. Or maybe now you know that you need a healing because something is it's finished now. It's like you had a window, but it didn't manifest, or maybe they had a window to manifest something, but they didn't. And like now they gotta heal from this. What else is there, Taurus? Three of Arrows in reverse is ahead of you. So how you see yourself dropping burdens. You're coming out of like a feeling of being weighed down or hurt from a past situation. And you know that there's change up ahead, and there's going to be possibly a separation or a move within your life, and maybe even a change of relocation. And it hurts you to be separated. It hurts the idea that you're separated now, and it doesn't seem like there could be a chance to reunite again. But it was something that was burdensome. It was something that was heavy, and it's kind of like bittersweet, and it's something that if you're sad for the change, but if you're almost kind of relieved because whatever this was, it was just a heavy burden on you, and you're ready to drop the burden. You're ready to, you know, not carry all of that weight anymore. And it's like, maybe you even feel like lighter when you woke up today, even though it was burdensome and heavy. It was like maybe you spent so long at this job or with this person that, you know, it just, even though it was horrible at the end or you were kind of sick of it, it was just something that was so familiar, you just couldn't let go. But then it's like the wheel turned and it's like you had to let go. Like there wasn't an option for you to. And it was like it ended up to be the best thing for you in the end. Because even though you didn't want to let go of it, it felt like you were dropping a heavy weight and a heavy burden. And you, even though you feel relieved, it's like you're grieving for the death of what was familiar, even though you weren't happy. How they see you, the forest lovers, they see you as the lovers. They see you like a twin flame, a soulmate union. And maybe there is even going to be like a separation. And now there's a separation between it. And they do love you, they feel connected to you, they feel a soulmate union. Queen of Stones. Now the Queen of Pentacles is someone who's very resourceful, who's very strong, who, you know, protects and nourishes their young, and who is very grounded and down to earth and knows all things that is nourishing and worldly and one with the land and the forests around them and nature around them. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who is, you know, they don't have a need for anything, you know, they are the eternal mother, and you could be a mother. Or you could be nurturing a business, or because, you know, they're usually depicted as like that queen that's like with a pentacle on her lap, is because she makes things grow, because she's in balance with the land. She's a part of it. So 8 of Vessels. Eight of Cups. This is moving on. Rebirth. Moving to new horizons. Being hopeful of what's ahead of you. And maybe you had a big healing process. You know, you were able to move on from a heaviness, and maybe you were going through kind of a depression or a lack mentality or some kind of like burden or heaviness or stress. And it's like maybe you were taking care of this person for a really long time. Maybe it was a sick parent or a sick partner. Or maybe it was somebody that it was just they always had issues that you always had to help, and they always expected so much for you. And although you cared for the person, it just became too much of a heavy burden to bear. And it's like you came to the point where like you learned everything that you needed to learn from this experience, from this situation. And you're ready to move on with optimism. You know, it's like, you know that song, Mr. Brightside? It's like, yeah, it's like, I know you're not my destiny. Not my destiny. How do it goes? I gotta remember that. For some reason, it's coming to me. Surprise I pay is coming. Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I'm Mr. Brightside. Yeah, there you go. Feel it, Mr. Brightside. And I feel like you're moving into broader horizons and expansion. Unfortunately, it's not expanding with this person. You know, it's a burden. It was a heavy burden that you had to drop. And all I could see is like relief, or just like an acceptance that things are going to change, things need to change. And it was a burden on you for a really long time. It was like you're trying to hold on to a stagnancy, and it's like now you're ready to move on and to evolve. 3 of Vessels underneath is joy. This could be reunion. This could even have been a third-party situation. I don't know. Maybe you were unknowingly a third-party situation, or you were part of a trio, or you were in a relationship with this person and they strayed, or, you know, it was just a sickness or a burden and they had to leave for something in particular. But and maybe this person could have been running around on you, because I see this could either be a heartbreak now that it's a separation, or it could have just been a third party, because maybe somebody had to move and you didn't end up going with them. Like they had some other place they had to go, and it's like you can't do anything about it. It could have been that. Or it could have been a third party situation going on as well, you know, and it was like, well, I'm just going to let this go, and they're still pining over you, and they still miss you, and they still see you as a soulmate. But I feel like this is a separation that maybe it wasn't, like, I don't know. Even if it was a third party situation or it wasn't, it became burdensome, because it was like this, whatever situation or relationship, it was a heavy burden on you, and it wasn't helping you. It wasn't making you grow. And it demanded so much of you that you started to feel like you weren't even nourishing yourself, that it was taking you away from everything around you. And it was like maybe there was a lack of appreciation for everything that you did for this person, because you're the Queen of Pentacles. At least that's your hopes. You know? But maybe this is a lesson that needs to be learned as well, of not overdoing and overgiving. And maybe there could have been a sense of people pleasing or over nurturing other people around them. And it's like, even though you didn't want to change the situation, or else you felt obligated to it. Maybe you did feel obligated to it. Maybe it was like a single parent, like an elder parent or something, or family member who was sick for a really long time, or who you felt like you always needed to care for, you know, because it doesn't even have to be just a love relationship. It could be like a family member that was just very codependent, and, you know, that you had to do too much for. And maybe it was like a trend that lasted throughout your life. It's not only just one situation, but it's over many. And it was like a feeling of like a lack of self-worth, that you felt like you had to do this in order to be loved in some kind of way. And maybe, and I do feel a sense of relief, because it was like you couldn't do, you felt like you weren't strong enough to put boundaries on your own in some kind of way, and maybe they made the choice for you, or it was just kind of a situation out of your control, or maybe it was within your control because you dropped the burden. You dropped the burden and you walked away from this because you're hoping to heal whatever codependency or people-pleasing situations, because now it's like I got to start focusing on myself, and I got to start going towards my happiness and wants and my needs, and like, you know, take care of myself, because maybe you haven't been for a really long time. You know, Taurus, like, you know, you're like the eternal mother. You nourish everything, you know. You're supposed to have luxury in life. And even if you're a man, you're like, you nourish people and relationships around you. You make sure that everyone, the people that you love, have what they need. And in turn, they take care of you just as much as you take care of them, or at least they should. And if they don't, it's like you realize how much it drains you, because they see joy underneath, of relinquishing, of letting go. And I feel like even though it's something like, if you did it willingly, it may have had to take you a lot to be able to walk away from this, because, you know, you're on that axis of Taurus and Scorpio, and it's like you can be so loyal, like to a fault, even to your own detriment. And a lot of earth signs do. And they'll stay in things even when they're not happy, if they think it's good for the family, or it's good for someone, if they're doing something for someone. And that was that lack of like feeling not good enough that made you overwork and overdo. But it's like, now that it's released and you're letting it go, or you decided to just drop this burden and move on, or change happened on its own, like, it feels like now you're light as a feather. And now it's like all of this blockages that were in your life was, it's starting to clear up. And you're starting to feel a lot freer, because maybe you didn't realize how much this held you down until you finally were able to separate or put a little distance between it. And you realize like how much better you felt when you weren't around this person or this job or situation anymore. And I think this is what it is. It's a spiritual journey, and you're able to focus on yourself and your dreams now. And perhaps there is even a kind of resentment that was kind of building up within you, because it was like, wow, I never have time for me. I never have time for myself. You know, when is it going to be for me? And it's like, what you didn't know is that you had a power to do that the whole time, but it was like you couldn't tear yourself away. Let's give you some advice. Financial constraints, you're going to be coming out of that. Or somebody left in the past because of financial constraints. Maybe they had a job across seas or something, or they were going through some kind of financial issues or crisis, and, you know, like they had to kind of deal with their shit. And maybe this could have been you, or maybe this could have been both of you. And it was like this lack of stability that made you feel unstable. And when you're financially affected or squeezed, like it really takes a hit on your state of mind and your self-esteem. And as a Capricorn moon in Vedic, like, I totally understand that. And I do. I'm a different person when I feel like, you know, unstable. And this person, it was like someone who, or this thing, or this entity, or organization, or job, it was just sucking the life out of you, Taurus. And the present change is happening. There's no longer coming together, or working together, or expanding. Because perhaps you started to get an intuitive nudge into something that was going on that wasn't the best for you. Maybe there's something that you still have to look out for now. But it's at a 10. It's at a 10. Maybe you're having a lot of disaster thinking about, the things in the world that was happening. It was an anxiety about what next, because it was like a disaster thinking that, the change of the world and the climate, like, what do I have to look out for? What should I do? Is it good enough? Like, what's going to happen now? And it was like years of just like built up, like induced anxiety that the entire population was going through. And you started to get intuitive nudges, whether about this relationship or organization, and maybe you started to feel like, oh, maybe this is going to end soon, because like maybe the business you were working at was like you started to get inkling that it wasn't going to be there long anymore, like it was shutting down and you had to find a new job, or this person had plans to move and yet he or she didn't even tell you, or it was like, or maybe you did and you kept this close to yourself because you knew there needed to be a change, and so you held yourself back from it as a way of protection, even though it's something that you wanted, but it was something that you knew that couldn't last, because you knew that there would be lifestyle changes that had to happen, and it wasn't something that was like tangibly like, or like based in reality, But you felt like this person was hiding something. And you always felt on high alert, like there was something to watch out for. Like it became very argumentative situation. Like, you always found out, okay, what's the issue now? Like if this person was sick, or if this job was, going under, like management was always like pissy, or they'd be nitpicky, or they'd be judgmental. It's like, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. And you're like, God, what? Can I do anything freaking right if this is a partner or a family member or a situation? Can I do anything right? Is anything ever right? And it's like you kept on trying, but then it's finally you just kind of gave up and you let go. You're like, okay, well, if I can't do anything right, I'm going to have to let go. Like, if that's how you feel about it, then why am I going to keep trying? And then so you let go and you stopped letting yourself like feel like you weren't good enough in some kind of way, because maybe this person or situation did. And it wasn't because they didn't love you, but maybe it was because like that's their way of trying to make you work harder and do more, and to get more of a benefit out of the situation, and by acting like they didn't care, like they were playing some kind of game. And then it's like one of those people who just kind of like move away, and they separate themselves, or they don't call for 5 days, or they don't answer your phone for 5 days, or tell you there's like a health scare, but then they don't pick up the phone, like just to scare you, or if they will break up over nothing just to leave, just to see what your reaction is. And then and maybe this could have been a couple of times, like this person always, or this situation always needed that extra validation. Like, you know? And it's like, it was something that if this person or a relationship couldn't feed their own validation to themselves, it was like an empty bucket with a hole in it that you kept on trying to fill in the water, and it just became exhausting. It just became so much, and it started to drain you and the life out of you, and it started to put a lot of stagnancy into your life. Maybe this person kind of used you in some kind of ways as well, and they took you for granted because you did care for them so much. And it could be financially, it could be emotionally, it could be physically, you know, tangibly. And you gave so much to this person, and it's like, you know, they just kind of took and took and took. And while they were, or if they were in a higher position, like, they never kind of let you forget it. And because like their position over you, or this abuse of power, or they needed to feel above you in order to feel like to control you or the situation, you know. But it's not because it's like you weren't good enough. It was because like they felt like they weren't good enough, so they have to make everyone shitty around them in order to like validate them or to feel above them, like someone with the ego trip. And maybe they were in above position than you, or they had some kind of more money, or like a, you know, like a college degree or whatever it was, and they never really let you forget it, and they always try to make you feel bad about yourself. And it's like now that they're in the, or you could have been out of work or having some kind of money trouble, and then it's like now they're in the position that you were in. And it's like now it's like they could appreciate you and the situation more, and because it forced them to give some kind of empathy to you finally, because now that they were kind of put in your shoes, you know, they had to walk a mile in your shoes, and it brought a lot of appreciation for you and who you are and your gifts and everything you brought to this person. And it was like, okay, I'm going to stop trying because nothing I do is ever good enough. You know, I'm done feeling like I'm not good enough, because I'm good enough for myself. And if I never do anything good enough, then, you know, it's like I'm just going to start taking care of me, because I haven't taken care of myself good enough. So I have to just focus on that, because if nothing I'm doing is good enough, then why would I keep trying? Because all it does, it makes both of us miserable. And it's like now that you're moving ahead, you're coming out of like this feeling of feeling not enough, and you decided to take back your own value and lead. You're like, maybe you're going towards your own dreams, your own spirituality. You're back to your connection with your own God and the divine. And it's like now that you're gone, you know, it's like they appreciate everything that you were to them and you had for them, and perhaps they're regretful because of it. But it tells you to keep walking forward. And whatever anxiety or depression or feelings of paranoia that you're feeling, it's definitely releasing, and you're getting back to source and to your own spiritual path. And this person wants to come and offer you something, maybe, or you could be coming to a better union, somebody who does appreciate you. And maybe this could have been somebody from the past who's coming back now, who could have ghosted you, or you ghosted them, because They were acting recklessly, like they didn't care that they had a lot of options. And it's like, well, now it's your time to have your options, because I see a lot of good things coming in. And it's like, now that they're thinking about it, that, okay, so I'm going to play a game to get some validation, to see how much this person loves me. They weren't thinking about how it was making you feel. They weren't thinking about, you know, if you felt loved at all. It was somebody that was kind of self-serving and selfish, and you had to leave in order for them to really appreciate you. And you're looking into nurturing yourself, into your own path, and to your own, like, you know, creativity and your own joys. And you feel weightless while they feel heavy. And maybe they want to come back and give some kind of offer to you, but I think that you know it's time to move on, that there's better things out there for you, because all it ever was with this person or this job or situation was you constantly working to feel good enough, and it's like them never giving you the validation or appreciation that they expected from you. Cornucopia. Taurus, you're coming into amazing things. There could be somebody from your past coming back to make you some kind of offer, because it's like, now that you're gone, they see how beneficial you are, like how amazing you are, how much their life improved around you. But I feel like you're moving on. And I feel like it's telling you to move on, because I feel like there's something better up ahead for you. Maybe even a new soulmate union, a better soulmate union, someone who will actually appreciate you and actually do and care for you this time. Because this person or this environment or this job was just self-serving. They used you up, and it's like, now that they know that you're not chasing them, now that they want to run back and offer you something. But I feel like you got options, and you're looking to something better, and you know, and I see a lot of things better for you, and maybe it's even a new relationship. What's coming towards you, I wonder? You know what? More. What's coming towards Taurus? What's coming towards Taurus? What's coming towards Taurus? Excuse me. Oopsie. That was too much. This is way too much. Everything fell out. I don't know. I'll look at the upside ones. I think there's a reason for that. The World, Victory, the Thinking Woman, the Sixth Chakra, and the Contract, the Sixth Sense. Openness, imagination, foresight, intuition. You have the World, you have Victory, Taurus. There's something that's in the change of the alignments, and it's opening up your intuition and your third eye. And you're seeing everything right now. Somebody wants to offer you something, a contract, maybe even a marriage proposal, or like they want to work with you. Maybe you got scouted or something if you have some kind of creative business, and they want to like build with you because they see a lot of like star power and potential in you. You feel like something intuitively, you feel like something is coming towards you, and you're saving yourself up for something that's actually worth your light and your healing, and who's actually would deserve you, you know? all tied up underneath. What you don't see, what was underneath, is somebody feels like they're stuck. Maybe because in the past that they had maybe they were dealing with somebody. Or maybe this is someone new that feels all tied up. Or maybe somebody from your past feels all tied up because they kind of like passed you over or they screwed you over in some kind of way. If it's a business partnership, a family, or a relationship. And it's like you learned of like really strong boundaries, and now that you started to cut everybody off who did screw you over and, you know, you pulled your energy back, now they feel stuck. They feel stuck because you block them out. And you're blocking out any future situations like this because you're like, I'm never going to give my power up again. Like, I've learned my lesson, and this was a really strong lesson, and I went through this cycle so many times that I can't let my life force be like drained like this, because it's like knowing that you have a greater power or a greater purpose in this life, and now it's time for you to seek it. Somebody feels stuck into coming towards you because you cut them off, but they want to. But it's like, I feel like you got better things coming. Maybe even somebody who wants to really invest in you this time, and it could even be led to marriage. And I feel like intuitively you feel like something is coming, and it's not exactly being, I mean, it's telling me the world, victory, the thinking woman, Virgo. It's like you're learning about yourself and about your gifts, and you know, this end of this situation, bad cycle of overgiving and overdoing, of draining yourself, like now it's like you're getting back to yourself and you're becoming more grounded, and you're being able to see all of the amazing gifts that you really have. Because it's like you found your self-worth, you found your boundaries, and it's like, I'm never going to go towards this again. And there's going to be some good contracts coming up. You know, if it's in business, you're going to be promoted. If it's like, you know, I feel like it's spirituality, you're becoming more one with your divine and God. It could be a spiritual business that's going to be a huge expansion of this. And you're manifesting something really big. And something is going to come in for you. And I feel like this is like karmic fate for you. This is dharma. This is like going to be like your spiritual gifts. And maybe you went through a really hard period, and it could have been for years, maybe even 7, 12 years. I don't know, 11 years. But I feel like you're finally going to be getting yours this time, and it's going to be good. And the people who you left behind is kind of feeling the loss now. Because now they realize what they really lost with you. And you know what they lost? They lost the diamond, Taurus. But that's what I got for you. And love you lots, and donation box below if you feel moved to do so. I will talk to you later. I'm super excited for you, Taurus. Bye.